So they were talking about great speakers and they were left with no one else, so they got me. That's my own joke, I try hard. This is hacking a cat. And before we start, like you all did the whole talking to each other thing, now I'm going to do a little bit of introspection. And what I'd like you to do, because it's been a long day, right? You're all tired, you're all hopped up on coffee, there hasn't been so much fika. So can you all just close your eyes, take a deep breath in, all the way down to your toes nearly, and back out. And we step back a little bit. And back in again, and back out. Wriggle your shoulders a little bit, kind of stretch them out, and wake up. So when I kind of came up with this talk, first of all, probably best if I introduce myself. My name is Niall. I am the head of cybersecurity for Norway at Capgemini. And like a lot of people, I get asked, what the hell do you do when you're at a party? Now, I do actually go out to parties. As an Irish person, it's a healthy obsession we have. Now, usually you have to have one token Irish person there. It always helps. And I get to say, so what do you do, Niall? I said, I work in cybersecurity. And you get the kind of the dog look of, where it doesn't understand what's going on. It goes, huh? And I'm going, I work in IT. And then they go, aha. So it turns out IT people are the new doctors at parties. Because when you go to a party, you say, I'm a doctor. They go, oh, there's something wrong with my elbow. Can you help me fix it? When you go and you say, I work in IT, there's something wrong with my phone. Can you fix it? And you all go, I know. And then we're going to be looking at the new future. When you say, you work in IT, and they go, there's something wrong with my elbow. Can you fix it? Did you like that one? It took a while to get that one right. But the problem is, before we get there, we have to realize that security is hard. All right? Generally, and I'm not trying to be kind of like, oh, security is hard because I do it. Security is hard like all the mastery of any type of skill. When we look at like artistry, carpentry, bakery, cooking, any of these type of skills that take years of practice to become good at, these are hard when you don't know anything about them. And the same reason that security is hard, because we've got to think about all the different things that could potentially go wrong. And then all it takes is one mistake, and that's all an attacker needs. I'm going to put this in perspective because I'm trained as a software developer. And as a software developer, I created a lot of crazy programs. And as a father, I created 2 crazy kids. Now, they are the 2 jewels of my life, along with my wife, who provide an endless sort of stories for my talks. And my 2-year-old is positively one of the most dangerous little kids I've ever met. So, case 1. Papa's got your soother. Child looks at me and goes, I can fix that. Jumps up, grabs me by the beard, here, right? Lets go of her feet. I got my soother. We're cool, man, we're cool. So 2-year-old is there. I have a prolapse back, so this is going to be fun where I sit like this and try to look all stately. And I'm sitting on the sofa and I'm not just watching TV. I think it's Peppa Pig or something, because that's what you do when you have kids. And this little 2-year-old's going, I was like, what the fuck is that? And I noticed she's pushing the trip-trap stool across to the counter. And she pops up on the counter, she opens the cupboard, looks inside and goes, ugh. Jumps back down, goes off and gets a little stool that we have for, by the sink in the bathroom, puts that up on the counter, grabs the cookies, takes a cookie, puts it back in, and at this point, my wife walks in and goes, what are you doing? And I went, which one of us? Because at this point, you are an accomplice. And she's going, why did you let her do that? I wanted to see how far she'd get. Why? Because my risk picture didn't include a 2-year-old and a trip-trap stool. Because that was the mistake I made. I made the idea that if I put the stuff up high enough, child would not get it. Ingenuity of a 2-year-old towards a cookie, fantastic. And that kind of leads me on to another idea of how we described about doing risk. So I was down, I submitted back in 2014 to Øredev, and they told me no. Now, this is a normal thing that happens when you're a speaker, for maybe not all of you, but just for me, that you get told, no, you're not good enough, sorry about that, Mac. And I thought, okay, and as a speaker, you say, okay, fine, what can I do better? And they said, well, it just didn't work this year. I said, all right. So I was down in Poland. I was doing a talk. The two gentlemen here run a conference on there. It was pretty awesome. And I was setting up a man-in-the-middle attack to show what it would be like if you sniff credentials going across the wire. And something happened where someone connected to the back end of the Øredev solution. And I see these credentials going, whoo. So I come out of my talk and I go, does anyone know a person named Emily at Øredev? And someone says, yes, she's in the speaker room. I said, okay. So I rock up to the speaker room and I see this lovely woman beating the living daylights out of a computer, trying to put in her password or something. And I go, hi, are you Emily? And she goes, oui. I'm sorry, I'm making the story better. It may not have happened like this. It's the last time he's presenting at Øredev. I go, hi, I'm Niall, and this is for you. And she opens it, and she goes, oh. Well, she didn't actually say that, but that was the best gif I could come up with. And she goes, how did you do that? And I said, it's in the talk. You turned down a couple of times. She goes, okay. And I bet you didn't think of your risk picture of an Irishman in Poland attacking your Wi-Fi. And she goes, no. So fast forward to me being in an airport lounge in Amsterdam on my way to Paris. And I'm talking to Emily about a keynote, and she says, could you think about a keynote for doing like security stuff? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, like hacking people. I said, you mean social engineering? She goes, no, hacking the things in people. Let me sit down for this one. So I'm sitting there with a glass of champagne on the phone. And I said, you want me to hack someone's pacemaker? And you can imagine, and I just saw all the people in the audience go, or the kind of lounge going, security. I said, do you want me to hack someone's heart? And she goes, well, yeah, could you hack someone's heart? And I said, let me think about it. Yeah, you probably could, but it's not going to be easy. And why not? And she says, well, when we look at this, it says like, a malicious hacker would first have to know that a person has a heart implant. Well, we could do that by, watching. We'd have to figure out what brand of implant it was, its radio frequency, then get the proprietary reprogramming thing for the device within range of the victim, then tinker around nearby without the person becoming suspicious. I don't look suspicious. But you can imagine me rocking up beside you and going, hi, hold this. No, closer. Like you love it. It wouldn't really work. I thought, so attackers generally think in, go back, relist the slide. Attackers generally think in the form of graphs. Why is that video not working? So we would try and get to the person we need to get to by going through different ways. So I said, okay, let's think about what way I could get at a person where they wouldn't be suspicious. We're assuming that they're going to have some sort of other IoT devices. They might have a pet. Cats are nice. What would happen if I found a cat randomly on the street and gave them a small little NFC chip that could read stuff? And then when the cat came back out, it passes a stone and it just offloads the data to me and it just sends it back and forth. With me so far? Cat jumps up in your lap, purring. Feed me. I want to kill you. Feed me. And you're going, lovely, lovely, lovely cat. And what your cat is doing is working out all the frequencies and bits and pieces for me, and then it comes back, and then I just reprogram the payload. Your cat jumps up, your heart skips a beat, you think it's love. I turned your cat into a weapon. Now, you're probably thinking, Jesus, Niall, who on earth would think of this? And I said, well, experience tells me a lot that risks and the way we think about risk is based on our experience of threats. Because when you ask a 6-year-old, why did you run across the road? I didn't think it'd be a problem. And you're literally going, and if you see people doing kind of stupid things in code, why did you do that? Oh, I didn't know that would be an issue. We've all seen it. It's like you ask the question, why did you do that? And it's followed by, I didn't think it'd be a problem. Like when I showed my 6-year-old this video, he was really wondering what would happen next. Okay? Everyone in the audience knows something's going to happen. But my kid was going, I bet you the balloon will explode and he'll be very happy. I was like, yes, son, he'll be very happy. He'll be smelling barbecue for a month. The reason for this is because we have to learn from our mistakes, from the past, from the previous things that have gone before us. Because if we don't, because of the experience we have, it tells us what our risk picture should look like. A lot of the time we make these mistakes because we don't understand that this is potentially an issue. And we've been doing this for years, for well over 100 years. When we go back to Marconi, he is the father of the wireless age. Not the kind of the Wi-Fi age, but the actual wireless, the telegraph. Now, Marconi invented the telegraph and patented it, and what he'd said was, it is unbreakable. He didn't use hacker-proof because a hack meant a different thing back then. He went, this is unbreakable, it is extremely secure. And he was down in the Royal Institute of London doing a demonstration where he had his colleague in Dover going to send a message over 350 kilometers nearly instantly. This was amazing. The idea of such a long distance, a day's travel in milliseconds. The problem was there was a guy named John Neville Maskelyne who was a magician, and he was sitting in the audience. Now, John, fair play to him, decided that this could not be true and went, "Dear sir, please hold it to my beer while I prove you wrong." And proceeded to kind of figure out, well, if Marconi can send this data and he's the only person doing it, I'm guessing he's not listening on only one frequency. Because of a demo purposes, and we all do this, he probably said it's going to listen on all frequencies. Now, he had a vested interest because he was trying to profit from this as well, but wasn't allowed to because of patents. So he wanted to disprove Marconi in this case. So what he did was he set up another receiver and sender closer to Marconi's one. He effectively man in the middle in 1903. All right? Literally, he was the man in the middle. He then proceeded to send the word rats repeatedly. Right? Which Marconi went, that's not fair, that's not fair, that's not fair. And then he followed it up just to kind of rub salt in the wound with, there was a little cheater from Italy, and continued on when it wasn't so nice. The thing was, this caused such an uproar in 1903 that letters were written. It wasn't a tweet back then, it was letters were written claiming ungentlemanly-like conduct and other such scurrilous different things. But he proved a point in spectacular fashion that Marconi, even though he had said it's unbreakable, it wasn't. And if we think about it, how many times have you heard in the last 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, oh no, our system's perfectly safe, penetrable, your data is perfectly safe with us, your credit card data will never be abused, your email address will never be broken into. We hear this every day. And we have to look at what we have done before and the evolution of viruses and malware to even see it a bit differently. Does anyone even recognize this screen? Anyone seen this before? This is a boot sector virus from 1992. Hands up if you were born after this was released. That's a lot of people who go, that shit's old. And probably don't know what a boot sector virus is. I showed this to my colleague who is 25. He goes, man, I'm born in 1993. What is this? I said, it's a boot sector virus. He goes, a what now? I said, a boot sector virus. It's when you 3D print a save icon and you put it into a machine. Cheap joke, I know, but I've been practicing that for a while. So, and it would transfer in, but the thing was, it would read from the MBR and execute code blindly. And this is not a problem anymore because we don't do this anymore because we have defense against it. We fast forward to 1998. Melissa and I Love You. There's people going, I don't even know what this is. But this was the scourge. This is the first time I ever saw a virus transition into real paper. because people couldn't email people anymore. You know, the easiest way to kind of screw stuff up was to send an I love you on an email, and people would go, what? But this exploited something that we don't do anymore. It used VB script, which is still in use, and it just said, for automation purposes, we'll automate all this sending of details for you. And then someone went, well, if it can automate sending of details, can I get it to automate sending a lot of email to everybody on your address list? Yes, you can, of course. Why would someone do that? Well, reasons. It happened, but we now block this. This is defaulted. We don't do this anymore. 2016, 2017, WannaCry. Using a bug from SMBv1 called Eternal Blue out of Shadow Brokers and mixing it with ransomware, they created a ransomware worm. The return of the worm. Worms were the standard way to work around the web before. They were they died a little bit, and now they're back. When this went out, this brought financial disruption to a lot of places. It caused Apple Watches to be delayed. It caused people to lose Hep A and Hep B virus samples. It caused 300 million euros to certain companies. And this is just something that, like, people are going, well, how do we defend against this? We didn't know it would be a problem. And we have a defense against it. We've turned off SMBv1. We now try and actively block ransomware on machines. So the next evolution will be, how do we defend against that? And we are very used to seeing reactive security. We probably just don't notice it in the form of, like, airports. Airports and airlines have always had reactive security. They have proactive, but they have a lot of reactive. 1974, they started bringing in scanners because people started hijacking aircraft for political purposes. 2001, after New York, the TSA was formed, and a whole load of changes in how we look at how we travel on airlines. 2005, we changed that we couldn't bring more than 100 milliliters in a little bottle. And this is a standard of what and we all kind of go, okay, that's fine. But no one ever thought back in '74 that someone would load a bomb onto an aircraft and kill everyone for political gain. Why would someone do that? And this is what we have to try and think about. And when you start thinking in secure terms, people call you paranoid. Think about it. I hope that we should think about this. Jesus, Niall, no one will ever do that. You're crazy. Man, no one would ever think of doing that. Why would someone do that? What would you do? Why do you lock your door in the evening? Why do you lock your door in the evening? Do you lock your door in the evening? Who doesn't lock their door in the evening? I'm going to your house. Where do you live? Hi. Do you have any good stuff? He's like, no. I lock my door. I coming from Ireland, when I come up to Norway first, I would come in the door and I would automatically lock it behind me and continue in. And my wife goes, Niall, why on earth do you lock the door every time you come in? I said, it's habit, because someone might walk in. She goes, Niall, no one would ever walk in. 2013, I'm walking out with a bag of dirty diapers, and this man walks in and goes, this isn't the stairs. I'm like, no, it's not. And he goes, I'm lost. And I said, yeah, because this isn't the stairs, mate. It was ONS, the big oil and gas symposium in Norway, and people rent out their houses, and he was told to go in a specific door and go upstairs, and he tried to come in our door to go upstairs, which you can't do, and I was like, honey, that's why we lock our door. He says, who was that? I don't know, but he was there, completely confused, and we wouldn't have known, except we just happenstance walked past. He might have had the best alibi. I was just, hand inside and forgetting the keys, honestly. But we are a little bit of a product of our society and culture. As a person who comes from outside of Scandinavia and then is living in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, some of the safest, most beautiful, higgly places on the planet. But everyone is extremely naive, I find. And I mean that with an absolute ton of love. You are lovely and brilliant, but sometimes you don't think in the same way I think. And I think that's a good thing too, because otherwise this talk wouldn't be as fun. But we do think of it a little bit differently, because one thing is, like, for us, we have a thing called Papa Perm. I'm assuming you have that in Sweden and Denmark as well. Like, it's where, you know, you go out and you kind of force the dad to stay home with the kid and relax. Maybe. Or get to know at least the child. Like, this is when I was in Ireland. My sister, she's due a kid at the end of January, or end of December. And I was saying, do you get paternity leave? And he goes, yeah, 3 days. I said, what? And he goes, well, I can't really take it, though. I was like, what do you get normally? He says, oh, we can take up to 2 weeks total over the first year. I said, 2 weeks total over the first year? I get that in the first week. 2 weeks. I disappear. I'm gone. She needs me there. I need to figure out how to wet the baby's head. Google that. It's an Irish expression. You'll enjoy it. And I was thinking, geez, that's crazy. But the thing is that we think it a little bit safer and how we look at things in a different way. There's always a joke of, like, the Irish guy goes to New York and he puts the 25 cents in the thing that gives you the paper. And the American takes one and the Irish guy takes it all. And the American goes, well, why did you take it all? And I'm like, why didn't you take it everything? Different views of the same thing. Socially and culturally acceptable, etc. But it's just, if you go against that grain, people go, that's hard. It's like my mum, when she came up, and I was taking my daughter, and she's wrapped up in this nest. We're going down to the coffee shop, and I leave my daughter outside the coffee shop in the Barnavogen, in the pram, and my mum's like, Niall, you forgot the kid. I'm like, no, I didn't. The kid's out there. She's happy. She's asleep. She'll sleep better outside. Won't someone take her? No, why would someone take her? Maybe I'll give her away, but, you know, someone won't take her. And when we look at the differences of how we work and how we think, this affects us. I wanted to put the Norwegian one up, but I thought it was too generic for all of us. It's the one where you have happy, sad, and upset, and it's all one line, and then drunk as they're smiling, you know. Because we are a product of our cultural and sociological standings. And only a large environmental shift will change how we think. One of the biggest environmental shifts we find, especially for a lot of us, is becoming a parent. How many of you are parents? Those of you who are not, keep practicing, lots of fun. I didn't say that out loud, right? No. But once you become a parent, especially as you become a dad, you gain a thing known as a dad reflex. And dad's reflex is this. So we have here child on the phone. Honestly, don't know what's happening. Dad, superhuman. It's the evolution. Because what happens when you look, when you become a parent, you look downstairs, you look and you go, oh, that's too low. My child will break that. That's too dangerous. There's knives on the floor. Why would you have knives on the floor? Because I'm an adult and I can step over them. My kid will try and eat it. That's one thing you'll notice, and that's the environmental change. However, the dad reaction doesn't always work. Case in point, kid's picked up. Now watch what happens when the dad goes to the ball. Boink! It's how you put child abuse in a talk and everybody laughs. We are on the cusp of a biorevolution. This is a small defibrillator that can be attached to a heart. We're going to be designing solutions that are literally going to make your heart beat and work faster, work better, and with better rhythms. And we're going to do things like this because we are dealing with massive amounts of data right now. I'm currently wearing an Apple Watch. After this talk, I can go and look and see, did my pulse rise? How much energy did I expend during my talk? How much was I nervous? How much was I stressed? Did I peak at any point? Did it kind of level out? Wearable tech. We have insertable tech. Don't Google that. We will have, and we do have, embeddable tech. We have wearables, insertables, now embeddables. When you think about it, we have embedded systems, but imagine embedded in you. Embeddable software is becoming, our embedded solutions are becoming the norm. The idea, like, let's go into creator mode. This is where I have a bit of fun and I gotta get to do all the and things. Insulin pump, which is connected to your phone, which has telemetry that tells you your blood sugar is low. You should drink 150 milliliters of apple juice. And here's the directions to the nearest place you can get it. And then based on your telemetry when you get to the shop, tells you, in fact, you need 175 milliliters. And you go, okay, cool, to bring your blood sugar back up. Scott Hanselman has done this. He has kind of done his insulin pump and it goes to the cloud. He's also linked it up to his Tesla so that if his blood sugar drops, it'll direct him to the nearest place he can buy food. This is brilliant. Heart, the idea of having a Wi-Fi enabled heart, near field communications. Put something over here and it tells you, you had a heart attack because you saw the love of your life, or your cat jumped up on your lap. You could get telemetry that tells you how to be better. Like, imagine that it can link up to your home instrumentation and tell you, no mate, you're having hot flushes, not because you're dying, but your temperature's turned up too high. You need to drink more water because we can check how hydrated you are. And everyone's going, man, that's cool because we've got big data, we've got analytics, we've got machine learning, we've got AI. All of this kind of combined together gives us this revolution. We can do stuff. And this is where we all go, yeah, awesome. I can literally give you a human upgrade. Imagine being the person who could create an eidetic memory, which means you will never forget anything, as an upgrade. Imagine going in and saying, you know what, I'd like to be better with numbers, or to speak 57 languages. And someone says, okay, which 57 do you want? I can't count, but okay, we'll try. That's the concept. We all do it. And then you go, who can screw it up? Because as humans, we also do that. 2007, 2008, Mark Zuckerberg and Jack, Facebook, Twitter. Did they think when they were inventing those technologies that they would literally be influencing the 2016 elections in the US? Did they think that they would have to say, Russian trolls reach hundreds of thousands of US Instagram users, that this would be a part of their threat scenario? They were making things to tweet and randomly shout out junk like I'm on the toilet, and share pictures. Now they're influencing US politics and global politics. The US president uses Twitter as a political tool. Facebook is a political tool. And people are going, well, it wasn't ever meant to be done like that. And that is where the human is brilliant at doing that too. We can create, but we can also subvert. And when we do that, that's usually where we have to understand, how can this be made into a risk and threat? I went looking for some of the most mad biotech out there. And I found this, and I thought, oh, this is going to be good. Samsung Smart Contact Lens. And I thought, how cool is this? AR, VR on my eyeball. You know, the idea of Google Maps, literally saying, I want to get to here, and it pops up and shows you, and your eyeball directs traffic for you and kind of works out where you're supposed to be going. Taking photos by doing a double blink. It looks like you're having a seizure, but you're just taking a really nice photo, you know. And then I thought, where has this tech been used before and how has it been broken before? Like this type of tech where we use near-field communication, we use different things. And I thought, you know the whole Bluetooth and near-field comms? The idea if you walked into a bakery, it would give you the best, it would say, here's the voucher for today's deals. Cool idea, brilliant idea. Location services, so you're based on that. Anyone, and that's been abused. People are literally buying small little devices. They're sticking them under the counters at coffee shops, which will then send you a message to your device, and it's a link to a malware site. AirDrop. Anyone use iPhone? Excellent, great. AirDrop is being used for sex abuse. It's literally where men are sending dick pics to people on trains when they have AirDrop enabled. It's not meant for that, but that's what people are subverting it for. You're laughing, but it's a horrendous thing. Literally, a woman walks up and she goes, shit. But that's the problem. People are doing this because they can and will, because they have a different mentality on how to change things around. And when you look at it like that, you have to kind of see, well, what can I do to secure this? I found The Guardian had this is where you kind of look, you definitely luck out. You have The Guardian producing this massive article on alarm over talks to implant UK employees with microchips. It's a Swedish guy, all right? And he holds these little things. They were inserted in Øredev last about 2 or 3 years ago, where you get this small little thing here. It's fantastic. The idea, it says like, these tiny chips implanted in the flesh between the thumb and forefinger are similar to those for pets. Yay. They enable people to open their front door, access their office, start their car with the wave of a hand, and can also store medical data. Brilliant. Ideas like, I'm thinking, keyless entry, I love it. Walk up to my car opens, sit in, press button, go. Fantastic. Brilliant tech. Always weird when you get into a rental car and they give you a key that has a beep, and you're like, where does that go? And I'm thinking, how could we screw this up? How would you shake hands with someone and all of a sudden someone goes on into their house? Random stranger comes up and goes, hey, Stephen, how's it going? Shakes your hand. They're inside in your gaff. You're like, what the hell just happened? It's called a relay attack. We're already doing this with key fob integration. In the UK, I love this video because what it shows is how someone can use a relay attack to start a car. So the lad's going to get out of the car now. Come on, boys. We're waiting. So as you can see, very nervous. He's checking. The other lad's going, I don't know what this is, but it's sure it's out of Star Trek. And he's going to exploit a thing that people do all the time. They put their car keys beside the front door. So he's going to put a scanner up. All of a sudden, the car will light up. Hey, it's unlocked. Awesome. It's proximity because we're just relaying the key codes back and forth. The other fellow walks off, not realizing that you still need another key code to start the car. So he's called back, as you can see, looking a bit confused, as in, what up? Goes back over to do the exact same thing, and this is where it gets gnarly, because at this point, the car is going to start making noise. So this is why it's easier to rob a Tesla. So, ready? Car starts up. Great. Other fellow legs it. Into the car, starts going. No key required. The amount of kit for this, 2 SDR radios, $20 each on Amazon, possibly a Raspberry Pi, and possibly a couple of Wi-Fi senders. Do it for about less than about $200. Now, when we look at this and you say, okay, that is what people are going to do because they can and they will. So when you have this kind of like implantable tech, I was thinking, okay, so what could you do? Could you be sitting in a cinema and basically scan everybody and then start working out of, like from social media and other places, who they are? Because social media will tell you where they are, who they belong to, where they've been before, and then track that back, and then you could probably find where they live, and then you could send a lad to go over and go into their house while he's sitting in the cinema, and you do basically a virtual handshake to get access to their place. And the same means you could probably just block all the other incoming traffic. It is exceptional what people will subvert tech for and what they will do. It culminates with the idea of a new pacemaker hack puts malware directly on the device. So this is where your cat's going to kill you. This is the one where we go, can you imagine the concept that if people had pacemakers, that you could literally implant something that would like in any location and randomly start sending out information that would basically crypto lock your heart? And then you just say, yeah, you don't give us 2 Bitcoin, we're going to give you a heart attack. Or worse, we've got your kids, their hearts too. This is the problem people are going to look at, and they're going, why would someone do this? And the obvious answer is because they can. And because we haven't done what we are supposed to do. We are meant to look to the past. We are meant to look at what the mistakes were made before. Look at these and go, I will do better. I will not repeat what was done before. I will ensure that the bar is so high that when people try, they try very hard to get at my systems. I don't want you to repeat the same mistakes that everyone has done because you didn't know they were there in the first place. I want to bring you back to the start of this talk. I want to kind of bring you out from the darkness into the light. So first thing, we need to go into the darkness. So everyone close your eyes again. We're going to do this breathing thing again. Don't worry, this is where we get you to go again. So what I want you to do is everyone close their eyes. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath back out. Deep breath in. Deep breath back out. Without opening your eyes, put up your hand if you think your code will keep you alive or your loved ones alive. Open your eyes. Look around. That's what we need to change. We need... I didn't expect one person, literally the guy in the front row here, to do it. How good's your code? Or how simple is your code made? That's all I want to know. This is where I was worried of how this part of the keynote would go. So now we know we have a problem. And the first thing is identifying that we have a problem, because that we can fix, because we are very good at fixing things. As humans, we are very good at solutioning. We are very clever. So what we need to do is look and try and reverse that trend. Come back and say, yeah, my code will be good. My code will actually keep me alive. I don't know about your code, but my code will. And if you learn how to do that, make sure everyone else knows. And then come back in maybe a year or two's time and go, yeah, I actually learned how to stop a lot of the attacks you were talking about. I learned to anticipate attacks. I learned to be a little bit more paranoid about what I do. I learned that I should look at what has been done before and go forward and go, I can create a future. I can cause the next evolution of human. I can give you that upgrade and make you speak 57 languages. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Hacking a Cat. Thank you very much.